Welcome back, everybody, to your Average Gamer Shine. Here, this time on NHL 16, as we begin the newest series on Average Gamer Shine's channel. And this is something that I really enjoy doing, the simulation GM modes, season modes, etc. I think it's really cool to manage the team. Of course, playing the game is fun, but I enjoy more managing teams and seeing what I can turn them into. Now, this is a little bit of a twist. I was figuring out how I wanted to do this series because I was originally going to take the idea I did from the NBA series, where I'd bring a European team into the NHL and see if they could win a Stanley Cup. And I realized dealing with the rosters and the farm system, that would be a bit of a pain in the butt because most of these European teams are lesser rated than the farm systems. So in essence, I could just trade up all the farm players and I would have to do a lot of work to manipulate the rosters to be able to do that. So instead, I'm doing a series now. It's going to be called Can He Carry? And what I'm going to do is take one of the best players in the league. I will do this many different players and put them on a European team. In this case, it's the Malmo Redhawks in the Swedish Hockey League. And I'll see if he can carry them to a championship. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to do one season per episode, one player per episode, and I'm going to switch players every time, but I'm going to keep the teams the same, all the settings the same, and try to keep enough of the same settings so the only real variable is the player and the position. Most of these guys will be forwards, but we may toss a goalie in here and there, maybe a defenseman. That will be a bit tougher, though. So for the first one, of course, I chose Sidney Crosby. To a lot of people, he's the face of the NHL, and despite struggling this season, he, again, to many is looked at as the best player in all of hockey. Now, I looked at this as a pretty good team to go with, because this team is definitely not that great. The Malmo Redhawks, I believe this is their first time in the SHL in a little bit. I don't believe they qualify for the league the last few years. So it's a bit of a lower rated team, as you see their bottom two lines, but they do have a couple former NHLers in TJ Gagliardi and Peter Mueller, which I think add a nice twist to the roster. Now, in future episodes, when I use wingers, this will be a good team as well, because each winger will have a forward in Gagliardi they can work with. And I think that will make it, a little better not having legitimately just one person. They have a little bit to work with. Obviously, a player like Sidney Crosby is a playmaker. He's going to be passing the puck more than scoring goals. So in his sake, it's nice to have a guy like Peter Mueller on his side who is a sniper despite, his lowest shooting rating, only a 3-star rating. He is a sniper. Now we'll look through the rest of this team real quick. Again, not a crazy team, but I think this is something we can work with. We'll head over here. I just want to make sure all the best players we can get are in. I really think they are. I think this team, again, I went through all the ratings, and there were no, runaway teams for being the worst, because if there were in this league, I would immediately take the worst team in the league. But all the ratings on the teams were all hovering around 71 to 74. There were no outliers in any form or fashion, so I went with this squad right here. Now, looking at the lineup, I really don't think there's much I can do. All the highest rated players are up on the higher lines, and the fourth line is a bunch of the lowest rated players. So I think that's really all we need to do at this point. Now, again, injuries are off. I don't want that to affect anybody because, in some seasons you may lose Gagliardi, in other seasons you may not. Like I said, I want everything to remain as close to the same as it can be. So we're going to go right ahead. Like I said, we're going to simulate right through the season. I'm going to go just until the new year at first, and we'll check out the stats and whatnot. But I really don't want to make too many changes. I may fiddle with the lines here and there, but I really want to leave this up to the AI and see if implementing a superstar from the NHL into another league can really make that big of a difference. So we'll go right ahead. Again, NHL simulation isn't too fast. It may be a little better. But immediately we see Crosby making an impact. Quickly, they fade back a little bit. So the team is definitely doing all right. As we go through, I did see Moto Hockey was off to a big start. I was originally going to choose Moto Hockey, but they are a very good team with the players they have on it, so I really didn't want to go with them because they had a lot of high 70s and low 80 players. So we hit, that was actually a pretty quick simulation. Again, not the best thing about doing a season mode is there's not a lot of games, or at least in the Swiss League, there's not a lot of games, only 52, but season mode, they don't really have to go through and dissect all of the, analyst updates, all of the signings, the injuries, the trades that you have to do in the GM mode, really. It's all pretty much simulating games and generating stats when it comes to the season mode. So I think that's why this could be a bit easier to go through. So at the halfway point right here, we're 13, 12, and 5. And that is good enough for 9th in the league. So I don't think that's a good spot to be at right now. Crosby, of course, leads the team. So we'll look here. We're 9th in the league. I would imagine the top half get in, top 8 maybe. I don't know how many teams get into the playoffs in this league. So everyone's around the same spot. We're a 3-way tie for 7th place, so that's good to be. Everyone's running around 500. Again, these few teams up here have really started to break away, all only at 10 losses. So I do think I picked a good league in the sense that there's parity throughout the league, and for the most part, everyone's pretty even. If you look here, 13, 12, 11, 11, 12, and 13, you can see for yourself, but it's pretty even league. We'll head over to the player stats now. Sidney Crosby leads the team in points through 30 games with 40 points on the board. Peter Mueller second, 29 assists. So Crosby is the main goal scorer, apparently. I mean, you look at the 96 ratings, you would assume a lot of his shots would go in compared to Mueller's 77, despite the fact that Mueller is a sniper. And then you look down here, Thurston's doing all right on that left wing, and TJ Gallardi on the center on the second line is doing all right. I was considering moving Gagliardi. Is it Gallardi or Gagliardi? We'll go with Gagliardi. It sounds right. Gagliardi, I was considering moving up to the first line left wing, but I didn't want to overstack that first line. The team can do so much with Crosby, but so it definitely is top heavy, because if you're looking at the bottom of the lineup here, the guys who aren't putting up many points, you have some big minuses while the top couple lines are all positive. So it's definitely, because these are the top 2 lines right here, definitely interesting to see literally how these top 2 lines dominate and the bottom 2 lines really struggle. So we're at New Year's here. We're going to head into the edit lines, see if there's any. I don't think there's really anything I want to make right away. I think we're pretty good where we are. I could move Gagliardi up, but like I said, I want him to stay on that second line to give the team any sort of chance of benefiting. What I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to switch. I'm trying to figure out power forward. Let's move Frederick Storm up to the first line. I meant to do just quick swap. Thurston's a 72, and I'm just going strictly by overalls here. With the way the first line is, I think Storm could fit fine enough on that first line, and Thurston could help out the second line and add a little more skill to it. Instead of having the 81 surrounded by 2 68s, we upgrade from a 68 to a 72. We'll see if that helps at all. So we'll move now. We'll simulate right to the playoffs, and we'll see pretty quickly, can Crosby carry them? Because this episode, Crosby may not be able to get them to the playoffs, and next thing you know, I bring in Ovechkin or something, he may be able to with the scoring power. And I know it's very close, so really, as obvious as it sounds, any win really helps. Any points really help, because the standings are very close, and boy, we are going on a nice streak after making that one line change. So what I'm going to do from now on is, if I make that line change, I will make that line change in every single one I do. And we'll see how that helps everybody throughout the season. So if you guys do have any suggestions, I'll probably reiterate this at the end of the video. But if you do have any suggestions towards players you'd like to see, please feel free to let me know. I'm going to do the obvious ones: Crosby, Ovechkin, Malkin, Tays, Tavares, Stamkos, Kane. I'm going to do the obvious ones, but if you have any other ideas, of some lesser-known guys that you'd like to see in this, or maybe a pair of guys, then that's another idea I thought wouldn't be bad if you bring in a pair of, two, I'm trying to think, Hall and Nugent Hopkins, if you don't think Hall can do it on his own, sort of thing. If you find a pair, that would be pretty good. Maybe the Sedins, because one Sedin might not be able to do it. Maybe both Sedins could carry their team to a championship. So the regular season has ended. We, really came away, turned around after that New Year's break as we jump into first place in the standings. The Malmo Redhawks, 94 points. Far and away the best team in the SHL. After that one line change, I definitely think that made a difference. Adding the two snipers on the line with Crosby. Crosby finishes with 78 points through 52 games. 46 goals, 32 assists. Peter Mueller puts up 64. Thurston levels out at 43. Storm definitely went up after benefiting moving up a line. So the whole team as a whole, the team as a whole definitely improved with that slight line change, I believe, and it also probably helps that Sidney Crosby is on the team. So we'll move into the playoffs right now. So the preliminary round matchups have been determined. Teams seeded 7 through 10 will play for the right to advance to the quarterfinal. Fair enough. We'll head on to the calendar here and we'll simulate a bit. Again, I personally should have maybe ran a dry run here. I don't know how the SHL playoffs currently work. It seems pretty simple. The preliminary round is interesting to me. So we're going to go right ahead here. We're going to simulate games at a time. Any sort of deciding game, I will do an in-game simulation. But other than that, I don't want to, make this too crazy of a video. So we're up 3-0 here. We'll head in and we will do a live simulation. And we'll just go period by period and play out the entire third period. So after the first, Arebro up 1-0 on a goal by Eriksson. We'll go right ahead to the third period here. Peter Mueller gets on the board and Wicklander makes it 2-1 for Arebro. 23-21, we're out shooting Arebro. I guess Crosby's going to have to come up big here. That first line will have to come up big. And let's see what we can do. We'll go by 4 here. Go by a minute at a time. See if Malmo can get anything. We got to get the sweep here. Where's Sidney Crosby? Where is he? They're on a power play here. Arebro on a power play. Can't get it done. Malmo only 2 minutes left and they tie it up. Storm, he was the man who was upgraded to the first line with Crosby. Gets the game-tying goal with under 2 minutes remaining. Wow, what a play there. Didn't see the goal, but I can imagine that was a pretty clutch goal there to tie it up and try to get this sweep finished. So we will go on to overtime. Will we see a game winner from Malmo? Power play for Arebro. And they score. Vixton gets the goal to go up 3-2 and win that game. So we'll move right on. I don't want to look at the stats too much. We'll go right over here. 3-1 series lead. Has to get this win to move on to the next round. So we'll sim the first period. Malmo up by 2. Storm and Crosby both score. Excuse me, 1 goal though for Arebro. That is Vitaluma. Move on to the third period now, and this game is over. 6-2 for Malmo. Storm, Meach, Crosby, and Thurston all bury some goals. And we'll just sim right through the third. 8-2 final. Tanuti gets 2 goals on Hudacek. And that is it for round number 1. The Malmo Redhawks move on. A big-time win there after the heartbreaking overtime loss. So we'll sim ahead to the next series. And we got Moto. Okay. Moto is one of those team I worried about. They looked pretty good ratings-wise, the roster they have. So we'll sim the first 3 games here. We take a 2-1 series lead. We'll sim game 4. 3-1 series lead, and we'll hop in to the live sim. First period underway, and it ends in a 1-0 lead for Moto. Richie with the goal. 13-22 win to take home the first period lead. After 2 periods, wow, Sidney Crosby, 2 goals on his behalf. That is a game changer right there. So a good job by Crosby to go up 2-1 as we head into the third period. And we'll move on now. We'll sim the third period now and see if Malmo can hold on. Still 2-1. Moto getting a lot of shots on net. 3-1 now. Thurston buries the goal to go up 3-1. Oberg answers quickly, makes it a 1-goal game yet again. Moto out shooting. Storm, though, buries one. 4-2 Malmo. Can the Redhawks hold on and take home the series? York gets the empty net goal. A 5-2 win for the Malmo Redhawks. So Malmo will be moving on to the next round to face HV 71. And I believe this is the finals. I could be wrong. I believe this is the final round. And right away, Malmo goes up 3-0. So we're looking for the sweep here. Can Sidney Crosby carry the Malmo Redhawks to a championship? Not fully single-handedly, but pretty much. First period over. It is still 0-0. Second period, 1-0. Thornburg on HV gets the goal, out shooting Malmo 19-14. So we'll see going into this third period if Malmo can mount the comeback to get the sweep and take home this series, which I believe is the championship. Sund gets the goal, 2-0 HV. Gonna need some quick goals here. 3-0 Mellon. Wow. Power play for Malmo. Crosby scores. This might be a little too late, though, as HV 71 will win 3-1 to advance to game number 5. And we'll head. I just want to make sure if this is the championship or not. Is there a way I can see the bracket? Do they have the bracket? Playoff tree, yes, we do. This is the championship. I just wanted to make sure. So we'll find out. We're already up 3-1. Can Sidney Crosby lead this team to a championship? First period, 2-1 for HV. Crosby scores pretty quickly into the first period. Sund and Foucault score goals for HV 71. Make it 2-1. Move on to the third period. Almquist, 3-1 for HV. This is going to be a big comeback again needed for Malmo. Power play for HV. 5-on-3 power play. Wow, Mellon scores another goal as he did last game. 4-1 now for HV. And we're just going to round out this game. 4-1 win for HV. Tough comeback would have been in store for Malmo, and they could not mount it. As we go to game number 6. It's getting nerve-wracking here. Can they hold on? Can Crosby hold on and lead this team to a championship? First period, wow. Glennie, Thornburg, and Christensen. 3-0 on 12 shots on Malmo. Goaltending seems to be the big problem here for the Redhawks. And, wow, so we'll jump right into the third. It is 4-1. Not looking good at all for the Malmo Redhawks. But we will sim through the third and see if they can mount a comeback. And this is not looking good. 5-1. And we'll just sim the rest of this game. A 6-1 loss for Malmo. We are going to game number 7 after Malmo was up 3-0 over HV. They've dropped 3 games in a row being outscored a total of 13-3. So definitely not any offensive production, but also some very poor goaltending, I would assume. That couldn't be the only case, as the goaltending was pretty solid through the first couple games, although there were 2 overtime wins. Game number 7 here, though. Malmo has been showing that they've been a great team since the New Year's break, but it really hasn't been able to put anything together in this final. First period down 3-1 for Malmo. They're coming alive when they really need to. Storm Gagliardi, his first goal, I think, all playoffs. Hayda gets a goal. 3 goals for Malmo, and the 1 goal from HV71 goes to Almquist. Second period, 3-2. Lane buries one in the second period. Wow, this is going to be close as we head in to period number 3. Can Malmo hold off HV and win a championship here with Sidney Crosby leading the rush? Crosby buries one when he needed to. Foucault buries one as well for HV. And then Gagliardi scores. It's 5-3. 3 goals in just a few minutes. 6-3 now. Himmelfarb, where did he come from? 6-3 for Malmo, and they're going to shut the door. And in game number 7, Malmo wins the SHL championship. What a game Sidney Crosby is able to pull through in this Can He Carry inaugural episodes of the Can He Carry. That was sounding so good, and I screwed it up. Crosby pulls through in the inaugural episode of Can He Carry for the Malmo Redhawks. And before we end this episode, we will head over to the player stats in the playoffs, and we will see how everyone handled the 17 games played. Sidney Crosby, of course, on top. Peter Mueller, of course, in second place. They made a nice duo there. And Frederick Storm, the 27-year-old sniper, really came out of nowhere after I moved him up from the second line and put in a great performance, averaging just over a point per game. So thank you for watching the inaugural episode of Can He Carry, and based on our results here, yes, Sidney Crosby can carry the Malmo Redhawks to a championship. If you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment with any suggestions, and please subscribe, as we will have plenty more of the Can He Carry series coming out in the near future. So thank you for watching the video, and have a very average day.